What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Got a serious find in the budget realm that I'm going to go over with you today. We're going to be talking about the Sitivien ST149. Let's get into it. What we'll be doing today is going through the specs for this knife. We'll do some size comparisons as well, and then I'll jump into my thoughts and impressions. So the Sitivien has a 3.66 inch 14C 28N blade steel. It has a 4.69 inch handles. I have the black micarta in my variant. Overall length 8.35 inches, a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be. And I couldn't find a weight on the knife, so let's go ahead and check it out. If I had to guess, I feel like this is around 5 ounces, somewhere between 4.5 and 5. Let me put it back on the scale. I think the flipper tab's messed up. So coming in at exactly 5 ounces, and it definitely feels like it. All right, let's go ahead and get the scale out of the way. And then we'll get the size comparison knives out here so we can start the frame of reference for this knife. We're going to bring out the Demco AD20.5, and we're going to bring out the Spyderco Shaman. So as you can see, this is definitely a full-size knife, and it's definitely at that 8.35 inch mark. You can see it is longer than both of the knives on the table, definitely longer than the Demco, but surprisingly bigger than the Shaman. We'll go ahead and bring out the Benchmade bug out. And we'll go ahead and bring out the SIG K320 made by Hogue. And as you can see, the 149 is bigger than both. All right, let's go ahead and put these out of the way. We'll bring out some budget knives. We're going to bring out the Elementum 2 button lock for my budget friends out there for a frame of reference. And then we're going to bring out the Praxis. As you can see, it is bigger than both. Not quite as broad of a knife blade. Actually, oh no, the Praxis just a hair longer on the blade, and just a hair shorter on the handle. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do some thickness profile comparison so you can get an idea of what this is going to feel like in hand and in pocket. With those contoured scales and steel liners, no surprise, it is coming in much thicker than the Praxis. Let me grab the SIG K320 made by Hogue. Coming in just as thick as the Hogue, and the Hogue, because it is V-shaped, is going to feel a little bit better in hand because it does slim down towards the end, and then against the Shaman, it should be thicker than the Shaman. Yeah, much thicker than the Shaman. Again, steel liners, contoured scales on top, and let me show that to you. So you can see the contouring there. You can see just how it contours over there, right? There you go. Ergos. Fairly comfortable, nice, chunky in hand. If you have medium or smaller hands, you might not really like this. It might be too chunky for you. For me, I really do like the chunk. However, I really can feel this pocket clip. It lands right smack in the middle of the hand where it starts to touch me over here and finishes touching the inside of my palm. I can really feel that kind of digging into the hand a little bit. I think it would have been better for them to do a deep carry pocket clip, and they normally do. So I am surprised that they went with this style clip, because also look at how much knife that leaves out of the pocket. You can take it right up to that second line in the jean pocket, and it leaves all that material out. I think this would have been better suited to have the deep carry pocket clip. Lanyard hole is there. The micarta is okay. It is definitely, you see these little dots here, you can feel that poking into the hand when you're holding it. So if you get one that's done like mine was, I would recommend that you get 100 grit sandpaper or 1000 grit sandpaper. Oh Lord, 100 would make it feel worse. 1000 grit sandpaper, just lube it up a little bit and just hit the edges and knock that down, and I think you'd be good to go. The liners stand a little bit proud, so you don't really feel like they're is that funniness that goes from a flush liner that sometimes if it's not done right, you kind of get like these little voids that you're feeling. That definitely is not there. You just feel the liners, and then you feel the edges of the micarta. They do have the G10 backspacer in here, and they did jimp it, which is nice because when you go to deploy, it's nice to have that there because it gives some traction. That opening hole, I don't know if they meant for it to be a deployment method, but it is not very big hand friendly. Could be a little bit bigger. It is sharp enough to catch, and the detent is snappy, so it does feel good, but I feel like deploying it with the flipper tab is a better experience in my opinion. If you have medium hands, you might not like the chunkiness, but that reverser, that opening hole for the reverse flick is going to work better for you. It does have bearings. I haven't disassembled it yet, so I don't know if they're steel bearings or if they're ceramic. We'll cover that in the disassembly video for this knife, and I'll also at that point go ahead and grab my sandpaper and knock that down in case you're interested to see how that's going to look differently. Though it should completely eliminate all the jaggedness that you're seeing there, so that shouldn't be an issue whatsoever. You do have some relief cuts in there. Let's see, I'm trying to get the lighting. There you go. See the relief cut in there to help reduce the weight, but still 5 ounces. This is a heavy, heavy knife. Lock bar is sitting at about 30 to 40%, but it is not done well. It is very sharp and it cuts into the finger, and there's no additional relief here. I think I would have liked to have seen them either have this sit proud more so than the non-lock bar side, or knock this down a little bit so you can get in there. It's a little bit tight to get in there, and it's a little bit sharp if you try to go in that way. I think the only method that I've found that isn't awful is if you go in and lift like so. So the lock bar, not that great. The edging on here, not that great either. The micarta is a nice plus here, and it's done okay. The pocket clip, not that great. So that covers everything ergonomically and on the handles. Let's get to the main event here, and that is going to be the 14C 28N blade with a belt satin finish, a belt swedge, and then it has the stonewash finish on here. That is really, really cool. Nice and pokey. Came with a good edge from the factory. I think I still have some paper from my other video out here. So it came with a nice edge from the factory, and I did put it through some cardboard just to test it, but as you can see, it has a pretty good edge. I think with some stropping, it would be even better. So I really do like the blade steel at this price point. No clue. Actually, I did find where they're treating this at 59 to 61, right in the sweet spot for 14C28, and that is a good range for 14C28N if that's the true heat treat. That's what they're advertising, and if that's the true heat treat, that is really impressive, because this is a knife you can get for $30. For $30, those little bit of gripes are things that you can take care of yourself. This looks like it would take a Benchmade clip, so you could put a bug out clip in here, deep carry, damn, you're done. The Lynch Northwest, I bet you some of their ProTech Benchmade clips probably would fit on here as well. So bam, done. What, 30 bucks for a titanium pocket clip? So you're in $60 on this knife, which is still coming in less than a Sakoki, which is $65, and that has a steel pocket clip. The micarta's done better on it, but just, you know, for instance, and you know, people probably would spend $30 to get the titanium Sitivien pocket clip that would go on that one. I think I can't remember if it has the cutout, but it is not reversible, so that is unfortunate. A little bit of a knock, but you know, for $30, it's not going to be too much to complain about here, because I can fix the edges here. I probably could find a Benchmade clip on Etsy for less, probably like 10-15 bucks. So you really don't, you know, it'd still be steel probably, but you don't have to spend a lot to test that, right, to see if that would work. I think I probably have a ProTech Lynch clip here, I think in the blacksmith edition, so a little bit too nice of a pocket clip to leave on here, but I could certainly test it, or I could probably put that Lynch clip on here and throw that on here or something like that, right? You could move stuff around and mix things up potentially. But $30, man, it's not even worth making an alternative recommendation. 14C28N, micarta, some stuff that you'd have to tend to. I'd probably say if you're handy with a Dremel, when you go to take care the disassembly and you go to take care of the micarta, I would probably just go ahead and knock just that hole down just a little bit more, which is what I'll probably try to do to see if I can remedy all that. So when I go to do the disassembly, I'm probably going to do those mods, and I probably can report back to you whether or not that helped the situation any. It is still a sharp lock bar, but I think knocking it down would probably counteract that sharpness that I'm feeling. $30, man, this is a killer deal. Not going to make any alternative recommendations for this knife. If you're on a budget and you want a great steel that you're not going to have to worry about corroding like you would if you got the D2 variants of the Sitiviens, this is a really good option. It's a decent blade shape. If you had smaller fingers, it'd be probably even easier to use that thumb hole or opening hole. Larger hands, you're going to struggle a little bit, but it is sharp enough to where you can get it most of the time. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helped out my budget friends out there. This is just such a cool little deal to get you something really nice, especially if you're on a budget or if you're new to the knife game and you're not really sure if you want to get deep into it to where you're buying the expensive stuff. This is a good solid recommendation. And if you want to tune in, I usually do these back to back when I post them. I might not record this tomorrow but I've tried to post them back to back so you can see the disassembly the next day. You can see what I do to try to remedy that. I'll make sure that I get it on camera for anyone that's interested in fixing those little things. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention, this is my second variant. The first one, it is not centered. You can see it's off to the left just a little bit, and I'm going to see if I can take care of that when I go to do the disassembly and maintenance. But the first one that I got, I could not get it to move over. Every time I put it back together, it was like that. So it could be that the blade was warped on the first one that I got, but I immediately returned it before I carried it or did anything with it. So this is my second variant. Both those variants had the same issue with the lock bar and with the micarta. So I did want to mention that. I almost forgot about it, but I wanted to make that point known because I did get a second variant of this one that was in a little bit better shape. And you know, when I do the disassembly and clean and everything and reassemble it, I might be able to address that. I think the other thing too, when I took this off, there was another set of screws back here for the back spacer. So that's where you would have to get your alignment set up straight here. Then you'd have to take the pivot back off and put the scale over top of it. So it's gonna be a little bit more work. I just wanna forewarn you. Anyway, that is it. Sitivien ST149, cool little deal, $30 knife. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like. Wouldn't bother me one bit. Not that hard, it's right down there below you. Don't have to take too much of an extra step to do that, right? Thanks and shout out to everyone out there that regularly likes the videos, that is subscribed and commenting. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.